that you impact as you think about this level of expertise that you're getting. So I have two great people to help me talk through these different topics, Carolyn Dunn and Octavia Gilmore. I'll have them introduce themselves. We'll start with Carolyn.
Hello, ladies. Hello, GTWAN. I'm thrilled to be here today. Thank you for having me. I was at Georgia Tech a long time ago. I graduated with a bachelor's and a master's degree of electrical engineering, and I have transitioned my career into, I'm currently vice president of marketing at Wasiga. We are a safety IoT company, and I'm a bit of a transition right now. I just actually started that job 2 weeks ago, and I'm super excited about it. For the purposes of talking about being a SME queen, subject matter expert, I am a subject matter expert on something called Raspberry Pi. And through that, I have been featured in their official magazine twice, actually. And this is one of the features that they did about me. And it's kind of a combination of marketing and electrical engineering, understanding the technical and marrying that with the marketing aspect of it. And then personally, I am a gold medalist for Team USA, and this is my gold medal for Team USA. And I'm also a New York City marathon finisher as well. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Octavia.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me. So my name is Octavia Gilmore. I am the founder and CEO of a boutique marketing firm here in Atlanta called Creative Juice. We specialize in branding, marketing, and web design. I started the company back in 2013, a couple years after graduating college, when I realized corporate America was not my thing. And I've been running that agency ever since. Started out as a one-woman shop, and over the past 8 years, I've been able to grow it to a full-service marketing firm.
So we've talked a lot about how do you find your personal brand, how do you start to be seen as strategic, but how do you really, as you both think about where the world has seen you as a SME, how do you start having larger and larger audiences of people know that this is your expertise, and how do you get that word out? So I'll start with Carolyn.
For me, YouTube was my medium. And so I have currently, I just checked, I have 29,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I just wanted to get out there and show girls, little girls, that women could do technology as well. And so I have that electrical engineering background. So I started doing these little technical videos with these little Raspberry Pis, showing people what they could do. And I made I think 50 videos about Raspberry Pi, and then finally the Raspberry Pi people contacted me and said, "Hey, do you want to be in our magazine?"
Awesome. I think for me, how I began to position myself as an SME was really focusing on understanding the value that I bring to my clients with my expertise, and then making sure that I have some type of 15-second elevator pitch that I can tell people when I meet them that's very clear and concise around what I do. So even if people don't remember the name of my marketing firm, they do say, "Oh, Octavia, you're the girl that does like marketing or something, right?" So just making sure that I'm consistent with my messaging and how I communicate to people, and then also making sure that I connect with everyone on digital platforms, right? So I'm very, very active on LinkedIn and Instagram, primarily because most of my clients are B2B. So whenever I'm meeting someone at a networking event, even if it's at the grocery store in any business capacity, I always make sure that I'm connecting with them on LinkedIn. And then on LinkedIn, I'm consistently posting content that's relevant to my expertise, and that helps me position myself as a thought leader in my space, specifically in the digital space.
When we were meeting before about this session, we were talking about like these overnight sensations. There's always these articles that are written like overnight sensation, but when you get to know the person behind it, they've been working on it for 20 years or 10 years. How do you fight through this model of like hacks, becoming viral or being seen as a SME, but as if it was overnight sensation? How do you fight that hack mode that seems to be present now in our world?
Well, I think for me, I've been literally I got introduced to graphic design when I was 14, and I've been doing it ever since. So it literally is my passion. I think starting out, as soon as I got the opportunity to like freelance and stuff like that, I started building up my clientele. So I think it really goes or gets down to being consistent and making sure that whatever you're putting out is relevant to the market that you serve. Making sure that even if you post like one video or one picture, you might get like 5 likes, right? But not letting that discourage you. Continue to be consistent and be a thought leader in your space, and really being an expert and making sure that whatever you're putting out to the world is actually offering people value. At the end of the day, if you're posting things that aren't relevant or no one is really interested in, or you're not educating someone, then you're less likely to get engagement from an audience. So I think the more that you're consistent and you put out that work, not necessarily for the reason to go viral, but to educate people, then you'll start to see some results over time.
Yeah, when I started on YouTube, I had 0 subscribers. I probably the first video I made, I think my family watched it. That was about it. And one of the things I said beforehand was, now that I have been featured by Raspberry Pi, people are asking me, oh, what's the hack? How do I shortcut this? And the first thing I have to say is there are no shortcuts in life. I put in the time and the effort to learn technology, and I want to show other people, how to do it as well, too. So it did take a while.
When you think about connecting to what is it that you want the world to know about, do you find yourself setting goals to say this is the amount of people I want to touch, or the amount of videos, likes? How do you think about goal setting when you're trying to have your expertise be known in a broader way?
Well, let's not all jump in at once here. So I get that question a lot of, I want to go viral, and I'm kind of like, and it's kind of talk, and it's like, well, what do you want to go viral for? What is your area of expertise? And also, I didn't start my YouTube channel to get a bunch of subscribers or to go viral. I started my YouTube channel because I looked at YouTube and I said, okay, all the technology videos out here, 99% of them are made by men, and I wanted to start a YouTube channel for women, or to show that women could do technology. And so it's kind of, it wasn't about the views, it was about proving, hey, women can do technology as well.
Yeah, and I think we do get caught up in the hype of wanting to go viral, but one thing that we do have to keep in mind is that doesn't always equal dollar signs, right? Like, you could have, 10,000 followers on Instagram. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily making more money than someone with 5 Instagram followers. So to Carolyn's point, really thinking about the why behind what you do, and again, focusing on offering people value at the end of the day, then you'll start to see some organic growth, and you'll start to be known in your space. Again, no matter where I go, I'm constantly telling people about Creative Juice. I always have a business card ready to go when I meet someone, and always wanting to connect with them. And even when I'm networking, I don't focus on pressing so hard about, oh, I'm Octavia, I own a marketing firm. Like, do you need marketing services? I take that opportunity to really build a genuine connection with whatever person I'm talking to, and really learn about them and whatever their pain points are and what they do. People are more inclined to remember you based on the conversation that they have with you. So if you really focus on building those genuine connections and not trying to get something out of it, you'll start to see results as well. And then also remembering the art of follow-up. So if you want to be known, as an SME, and again, you're constantly meeting people, you need to follow up with them, right? Don't just have a conversation with them and just, go ghost at the end of the day. So whether that's, again, connecting with them on LinkedIn, adding them to your email newsletter subscription or something like that, or even following up with them via email to just have some coffee or a virtual meeting with them would be ideal. That way that, you can continue that conversation and be relevant. And if you wait, weeks or months, they might forget that they had the conversation with you. So you want to make sure you follow up. I would say within at least like the same week that you actually met someone, to again continue to build that genuine connection with them.
How did you both decide what was the value that you wanted to deliver to the world, or as your expertise? Was it about a skill? Was it about a problem that you wanted to solve? How did you find what was the true value driver for what you wanted to deliver?
I know specifically for me, so when I graduated college and I was looking for jobs at marketing agencies, they were all owned by white males. And then if you looked at the team, there was just no diversity. So one of the things that I really wanted to help in regards to like breaking the glass ceiling was to own a marketing firm as a millennial, as a woman, and as a person of color. So that kind of became my thing where I'm like a unicorn in my space. And that really, again, started with my why and staying true to kind of who I am at the core as a person and my personal core values as well.
For me, on my YouTube channel, it is, I do know what the demographics of my YouTube channel. It is 90% men that watch my YouTube channel. But for the few females that watch my YouTube channel, that just brings me the most amount of joy. So I do have, women who comment on my videos that say, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for explaining this without any mansplaining." So I'll respond back, "There's no mansplaining on my channel." So stuff like that is what really keeps me going, or kept me going, to do this YouTube or to explain this in a way to share my knowledge of my love of technology as a female.
As you think about how do you balance people maybe having the impression that it's all about you, it's all about people seeing you, and it's the ego side. How do you balance where people might call you out of like, hey, you're always taking pictures of yourself, or like you always got YouTube videos and you're the one in the YouTube video, as if it would not be you. How do you work through those things where people might call it ego, where really you're trying to deliver value?
Well, when we were discussing this before, I didn't expect this question to come up. And when the question came up before, my mind was just blown, like just, because I didn't realize I was internalizing that before you just shined a light on it. So I had noticed, when you asked me that question, I had noticed myself when I do a post about myself, say, when my article came out in this magazine, I had posted, instead of saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm in this magazine," I had posted, "Oh, what an honor. Thank you so much, magazine, for featuring me in your magazine today." Instead of, so I was like, wow, that is true. I do that. I'm very, very conscious of that, or conscious of doing that, because I don't want to be seen as, oh, it's all about me.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between being arrogant and confident. And to me, confidence is arrogance with humility, right? So at the end of the day, or just whoever, right, that you worked extremely hard to get to where you are. So for me, I let my haters be my motivators, because at the end of the day, if I'm in the same room with you or, a potential client or something like that, that means that I've done whatever it takes to actually get in this environment. And I don't necessarily think that you should, dim your light so that other people can shine at the end of the day. So I post every accomplishment, every, business class that I graduated from, any time that I've won any grants or awards, because I worked really hard to, get to where I am right now. And that's something that I can be proud of and share my story so that I can inspire and encourage other people who want to get to where I'm at, right? So I think just having that confidence, but then also having a little bit of humility is ideal, and just not letting anyone's negativity bring you down at the end of the day. So there's an actress / filmmaker named Issa Rae, and she won an award at an award ceremony. And she said, "I first like to thank myself for getting myself here." And it's funny and we laugh about it, but it's true. Of course, other people can help you be successful, but at the end of the day, you have to have your own confidence and really understand the value that you bring to the table. And if someone's being negative, you can't please everyone, right? Someone's always going to have something to say. So just being true to who you are and being proud of yourself, because again, you worked really hard to get to where you are. It's not easy, and if it was, everyone would be doing it.
So one of the questions from the audience, how do you maintain your confidence? It's a good segue, because we had just talked about it. You're wanting to fight against being seen with ego. You want to be able to be proud of it, but how do you keep that projection going for yourself?
You just have to believe in yourself no matter what. And sometimes you have to be a bad listener too, right? I mean, yeah, I was an electrical engineer at Georgia Tech, and you know how many men told me, you can't do this? I have no idea because I forgot all of that. It just went in one ear and went right out the other. I cannot actually remember a single instance of somebody telling me I couldn't do it because I'm a woman. And that's just, poor listening skills on my end, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, generally speaking, men don't have this issue, right? Like, studies show that a woman would only apply for a job if she's like 80% qualified versus a man if he's like 40 or 60% qualified. He'll just go in there like he owns it, right? So I think, you're not going to be perfect, but you do have to have that confidence. And I can say, for example, me starting an agency, I started a marketing firm because I was good at graphic design, right? But then I had to learn all these other things that came along with running a business, right? So how do I hire people? How do I pitch? How do I price things? So you're gonna make mistakes, and you just have to give yourself grace. At the end of the day, I think when I was around 26, I literally had to have a conversation with myself in the mirror and say, girl, you are 26 years old, you're running a a $500,000 business. You're not going to always know what you're doing. You're going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, you have to learn from that and not beat yourself up about it because no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. And I agree, if I pitch 7 clients and none of them close, yes, that does hurt my confidence. But then I have to look at, okay, what about all the other clients that I close? What about all the other clients who give us raving reviews and referrals and stuff like that? So just focusing on positivity. And I'm also really big on daily affirmations. So one of the goals of Creative Juice is to be the largest diverse marketing firm in the country. I say that every single day because I believe that I can manifest, anything in life. So I think having those goals in the back of your mind, and as Caroline said, when people say negative things, they're just hating on you. Like, take it with a grain of salt, keep it moving. And also, I'm sorry to keep going, but making sure that you have a really strong support system. There have been plenty of times where I want to go in the corner and cry or jump off this ledge, and I call my mentors, my mom, whoever, right? And they're like, giving me those power talks and just making me feel good about myself because sometimes you honestly need that. And other people sometimes can see the value in you that you don't always see in yourself. So it's important to have those conversations in a safe space around people who love and actually want to see you win at the end of the day.
So give us the scoop. Give us some of these war stories. You've talked about different things that you've lived through. Save our audience some of the pain and on some of the experiences you've lived through. What are some of the war stories that you've experienced that can help someone from making the same mistake themselves?
Oh, we have so many war stories to get to where we got today. In a previous job, I was the buyer for my company, and I had set up all these meetings with potential vendors. And we're at a conference, and we have, we're going to meet at this point at this time, and we don't know each other. This is Vegas. This is the big CTIA conference, and I'm walking up to my, to the meeting point, and I see the person I'm about to meet with, or I think it is, and I'm walking up, and the guy I'm meeting with, all right, it goes like this. He's literally looking around me. I thought there was a celebrity behind me. I turned back. I had no idea what was going on. It turns out he was looking for my boss. Because he didn't think he was going to have to meet with me, and he didn't know I was the buyer for my company. So I had the meeting, with grace and dignity, and and I was absolutely the subject matter expert, and I was absolutely the buyer for my company. But I do remember that, and that probably did factor into my decision when I chose my vendor.
How about for you, Octavia?
Most of my war stories have been around, not being clear about someone's expectations and kind of setting those boundaries up front so that you're not taken advantage of. So I would say no, really focus on someone's intent when they come into your life or with your business or anything of that sort. And making sure that you're setting clear boundaries and that you're putting your foot down, or that you have consequences when people kind of overstep those boundaries. I know for me, I had a male mentor that I really trusted, and I went to him when I was like struggling with some stuff in my business, and he looked me in the eyes and he said, "Girl, you're working too hard. Why don't you just close your business and come work for me?" And I was just like, why would I do that? That's like the opposite of what I want to do. And as my mentor, you're supposed to be giving me words of encouragement or advice or something like that. So I think really paying attention to some of those things is important. And again, not letting someone else's opinion of you kind of frame how you think about yourself. One thing I had to learn was you are not always the decisions that you make, right? You might make a bad decision, but that doesn't make you a bad person, and that's okay at the end of the day, as long as you're learning from your failures and you're continuing to be resilient and push forward, you'll be successful. But yeah, definitely setting boundaries is really, really important, especially as women. So yeah.
Absolutely. We'll go to the audience for some questions here. How do you deal with setbacks? When you have things that happen, how do you recover from them?
You cry for 5 minutes and then you go right back to what you were doing, right? So get it out. If it hurts, cry, take a bath, meditate, go for a walk, and then just keep it moving. It's not, the end of the world, even though sometimes it does feel like it, right? If you lose a client or someone's upset with you, just cry it out, or whatever way that you cope, and then just kind of keep it moving, right? Cry about it for 5 minutes. Don't let it ruin your day. And just continue to press on at the end of the day. That's what I do, at least.
The truth is there will be setbacks, and some of them won't actually even be your fault, right? It is really tough, and yeah, you do have to take a beat, but then you've got to not internalize that, but also think about, where's my opportunity that's going to come out with that? Where's my white space? Okay, well this space is a little too crowded. Maybe I need to carve out my own white space over here. What is missing? What is nobody else doing? And really take that and use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Octavia.
I was gonna say, I know for Creative Juice, we were starting to pitch a lot of large clients, and they just kept saying, "You're too small, you're too small," and it was getting so frustrating because it's like, well, how am I gonna grow if you don't give me a large contract? So what I did was I took that and I said, how do I position Creative Juice in a way that it will be more attractive to a larger company, right? And then again, that was then focusing on the value that we bring, creating strategic partnerships. So just, if there's a setback, really looking at what you learned from it. And I heard a young woman speak, and she said she would always get a bunch of no's, but for her, no's for new opportunity coming, right? So, like even in sales, they say, the quicker you get to a no, the faster you'll get to that yes. So not letting that defeat you. At the end of the day, everything's not going to go the way you envision, no matter how much planning you do. It's just life, but you have to be able to really be resilient and let it roll off from you and just keep going.
We had a similar question from an earlier when we had the personal brands session, but when you think about managing your personal brand on multiple social media platforms, do you focus on all of them, or do you pick one platform that you decide to really have your personal brand on? How do you decide where to put yourself out there?
I think it depends on who your audience is, right? So for me, as a business owner, who again works primarily with B2B clients, I need to be on LinkedIn. That's just like a no-brainer, right? Building my network, posting content, interacting with people. From a social proof perspective and more of the younger demographic, I make sure that I have a really strong presence on my Instagram, and those are like the two main platforms that I'm on. I'm starting to get into TikTok a little bit, but it's a lot of work, but I think just really looking at where's your audience at and focusing on those platforms, because that's the easiest way to kind of get in front of them.
You can't be everything. You can't be on every platform. As a one person show. So you've got to concentrate on where are your strengths, or where do you have where you have the audience to do that. So for me, my platform was YouTube because I felt that was a really great teaching platform to talk about technology. And then, so really, if you do YouTube, then, you can't be good at everything, right? So then I guess Twitter was kind of a, hey, I just posted a new video. So Twitter was kind of an extension of that. You could consider that as well, too. So yeah, I would agree with Octavia. It is really dependent upon your audience and then also your medium. What are you putting out there?
How do you start to improve your ability to teach others your expertise? So when do you understand when to teach and when to just answer their question?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yes, I think. Well, for me, I want to put my, I want to teach, but I think it's also, I need somebody who's also receptive to listen to me. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people, who aren't receptive to that. And you've got to know your audience, as Octavia says. And if they're receptive, then that's the best time to teach them.
Yeah, I think if you mean like formally teach, or do you mean just like teach someone in general, I think you can learn something from a high school student, right? Like, so I think having that mindset, knowing that even if you are just answering someone's question, you might still be teaching them something or giving them insight. When it comes to like formally teaching, I would say, you have to work 10,000 hours to be considered an expert in your space. So I think once you get into the point where you're an actual expert in your space, then you can start, teaching or maybe monetizing your skill set, but making sure that you really know your craft like the back of your hand at the end of the day is ideal.
Absolutely. Any other questions from the audience at all? So you're both SME queens. What's next on the horizon as you start to set new future goals?
Well, I'm going through a job transition. So I just started a new job a week and a half ago. I'm now the new vice president of marketing at Wasiga. We're a safety IoT startup company. We're out of ATDC, and I am, and I did run a global marketing organization before that. So I am doing what I love to do. I know I started out in electrical engineering, but I decided that I wanted to marry the technology and the beauty and explain to people why technology is so important and how technology could make your life better. And I feel like I'm really pursuing my dream now in marketing technology products, IoT safety products. We are doing PA systems for schools, active shooter alerts, that sort of thing. And we could be saving lives. And I'm super excited about that higher purpose of how can I make the world a better place.
That's super awesome. Creative Juice is expanding. So we're currently hiring for 4 different roles. I'm looking for like an account manager, inbound sales lead to just help us get to the next level. We've pretty much been making our mark here in Atlanta, and we're just looking at how can we expand to other areas, specifically like on the West Coast. So that's kind of what's in store for us, just, making sure that we have the infrastructure so that we can hit the ground running and just continue to take over the world.
Yeah.
Rule the world.
I know you've got your handle behind you, but how can people get a hold of you after the session's over?
You're talking. I thought you were saying. Sorry, I thought you were talking to Octavia because I was like, look, you can just contact me here. I'm the Caroline Dunn on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram.
And for me, I am the millennial_CEO on Instagram. And then if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I am Octavia Warren Gilmore.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your insights and your war stories and your enthusiasm. Obviously, a lot of passion and energy from these two, so you can definitely see why they are SME queens for sure. I'll drop you both off right now. We're going to have our 15-minute networking break. Grab a coffee, meet some new folks, all that good stuff, and we will be back here for our 2:30 session with the last session, which is Send the Elevator Down. So as the mentors and mentorships happen in your life, how do we continue to expand and support women in their careers? So see you all at 2:30.